Every nation establishes a baseline contract with its citizens, the provision of basic education, accessible healthcare, and equitable justice. There is a systemic force that actively extracts these resources before they ever reach the public. Because of this diversion, classrooms sit without books, vulnerable patients are turned away from hospitals, educated youth enter a stalled economy with degrees but no viable jobs. When a society accepts these conditions, development stalls. Corruption operates as a targeted tax on the poorest citizens, dismantling the exact infrastructure they rely on to survive. The Transparency International Corruption Perception Index quantifies this problem. On a scale where 0 represents a highly corrupt state and 100 is perfectly clean, a score of 50 serves as the minimum threshold for clean governance. Looking at the data over the last decade, India's trajectory has stalled completely. The score sat at 36 in 2012, moved marginally to 40 in 2021, and dips back to 39 for 2025. Zooming out, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime tracks global corruption losses in the trillions annually. These missing funds directly distort market incentives. The World Bank confirms that diverting public resources weakens revenue collection. As a direct result, societal inequality worsens and public trust in institutions collapses. A decade of stagnant scores indicates a clear limit to our current methods. Crossing the 50-point threshold requires an entirely different approach to enforcement. A functioning state relies on the architecture of strong institutions, comprehensive legislation, and autonomous oversight bodies. But words on paper hold no weight without timely, impartial execution. When government processes rely heavily on human discretion, they invite political interference. The physical separation between a law's intent and its application creates the exact environment where bribes are exchanged. As long as resource distribution depends on unchecked human approval, guaranteeing impartial justice is impossible. Digital infrastructure acts as a systemic equalizer. By removing the human middleman, we engineer systems that inherently reject interference. Direct benefit transfers bypass physical bureaucracy entirely. They deliver welfare funds straight into citizen accounts, cutting out the predatory actors who traditionally siphoned these payments. E-procurement platforms shift public contracts into the light. Every bid, requirement, and transaction is logged in an auditable record that cannot be quietly altered. This establishes maximum transparency. Open government initiatives give citizens real-time access to public expenditure data, allowing anyone to monitor where funds are flowing. The operational logic is strict. Shrink the physical space requiring human discretion, and the mathematical probability of systemic corruption drops alongside it. Technology excels at tracking transactions, and legislation provides the framework to punish offenses. Yet neither can permanently stop a highly motivated individual from finding new loopholes. Ancient texts on Dharma addressed this exact vulnerability. They observed that as systemic decay rises, the cultivation of personal integrity must rise to meet it. Modern research echoes these ancient principles. The institutions of a democracy ultimately survive on the strength of public trust and the ethical values established within the family. The framework requires two parallel forces. Digital machinery enforces the rules, but its long-term success relies entirely on the moral software of the humans designing and operating it. When transparent data meets ethical vigilance, we generate the ultimate deterrent: citizen power. An alert, vocal public serves as a nation's strongest Lokpal, or watchdog. As outlined by Dr. K. Mishra, honesty must become the expected baseline. Deviations must be detected immediately and investigated thoroughly, and punished through strict due process. Securing a corruption-free nation is a mandatory duty owed to the development of all future generations. Achieving a cleaner tomorrow demands zero tolerance for ethical failure, backed by the maximum transparency of accountable governance.